everyone, this is Brian from ActiveMelody.com. Well, it's almost the 4th of July weekend here in the United States, and so I was feeling patriotic as I was creating the lesson this week, and I wanted to create my own arrangement of the Star-Spangled Banner. Now, this is a very simple, easy to play arrangement. This is something that sounds great on acoustic guitar or electric guitar, and it's played fingerstyle, but this isn't the Chet Atkins, Merle Travis fingerstyle stuff. This is a very simple fingerstyle. So if you've always been intimidated by fingerstyle and you feel like you need to have a pick, try this one out. I think you'll be able to do it, and I think you'll have fun doing it. The best part of this lesson is 100% of it's free. So I'm giving away the tablature, all of the video content. You can watch the slow walkthrough. Everything will be available to anyone. So if you're interested in downloading the tab or checking out the other assets in addition to this video, go to ActiveMelody.com and look for EP108. That's the lesson number for this lesson. Or you can click on the link in the description below and get there that way if you're watching this on YouTube. So, so that's what we're going to do. We're going to break it down note for note. Let's go ahead and get started. Alright, so we are in standard tuning, and this is played in the key of E. So our first chord is an E chord. Now let me just point out the right hand real quick before we jump into the left hand. And this is how my fingers line up with the strings. So my ring finger lines up with the 1 string, and my middle finger lines up with the 2 string. My pointer finger goes between the 3 and the 4 string. So anytime it's needed on the 4th string, it goes over here, and anytime it's on the 3rd, it's here. Then my thumb handles strings 5 and 6. That's how I use my fingers in this arrangement. So my pinky's not used at all. Now that's not how you would play fingerstyle. If, for example, if you're playing Chet Atkins style, where you've got this bass thing going on, you can see in those situations your thumb goes between the 6th and the 4th string. But for this kind of style, it doesn't need to do that. Your thumb can stay down on strings 5 and 6, and so that makes it a little easier if you're new to fingerstyle. This is a great kind of intro to that style. Okay, so that's the left, or that's the right hand. Now let's get into the left hand. Here's how this thing starts. It goes like this. We're going to keep it very simple. We're going to learn those 3 notes first. So it starts with, I use my middle finger on the 2nd fret 3rd string, and as soon as I'm using my pointer finger because that's the 3rd string. Just remember which fingers represent which strings. And what I'm doing is I pluck with my right hand. So as soon as I play this note, or pluck this note rather, I slide it up to the 4th fret on the 3rd string. And then watch this. I come down and play the 1st fret 3rd string. So we have 4th fret, 1st fret. Now watch this. Now what just happened there was I left my pointer finger down on the 1st fret 3rd string, and I went ahead and completed the E chord. You might as well. It's easy to do. Most of you should know how to make an E chord by now. And I just took my middle finger and ring finger and came down on the 2nd fret, strings 4 and 5, leaving this one down. And now I've completed the E chord. It's very natural to do that. And watch this. Once I complete the chord, I go ahead and pinch with my pointer finger on string 4. Remember how I said your pointer finger covers these 2 strings? So now it's on string 4. But I'm going to pinch string 4 and 6 at the same time, like this. Now what that's doing is it's creating 2 E notes. So it's an octave, they're an octave apart. But when you put it all together, it sounds like this. So you can tell where it's going. Okay, now the next thing that I do is I take my pointer finger back on the 3rd string, keeping the E chord shape down here, makes your left hand easy. I take my pointer finger and play the 3rd string. So now we're going to play these 4 notes. We got. Okay, now we're going to go to the B chord. Now I'm going to assume you know how to make a B chord like this. Some of you may use your ring finger, or your ring finger for that. I use my pinky. But it's that A chord shape. If you're familiar with a cage system, that's the A chord shape, meaning this chord. But we're just playing it up here. So this is the B chord. And what we're going to do once we make the chord is we're going to play strings 5, 4, and 3 out of that chord. And then we're going to use these 3 fingers, thumb on 5, pointer finger on 4, middle finger on 3. We're going to pluck them all at the same time. So here's what it sounds like if you put the B chord in with what we just learned. And so you can see where the melody is coming from. So always just when once you learn this style, you'll be able to make your own arrangements for any song, any melody. It's really not that hard to do. You just pick out the melody first, and then figure out which kind of chords go behind it, and it's pretty easy. Now watch this. We're going to come up and play a C sharp minor chord. So here's how we're going to make that chord. We're going to bar the fourth fret. Then I use my middle finger on the 5th fret 2nd string, just like that. My pinky goes down on the 6th fret 3rd string, and my ring finger goes down on the 6th fret 4th string. And we're going to play strings 5, 4, 3, and 2. But we're going to play them all at the same time, like that. And see what I'm using all 4 fingers there. We're not using our pinky, but we're using the thumb, pointer, middle, and ring. So now if we play the C sharp minor chord in it makes sense. Your melody note is here. And that's what I did, just so you know. I started with just the melody. I picked out and then I worked the chords around that. Okay. After the C sharp minor, I came up and played these 2 notes. And that's where, you know, I could have chorded that and made those chords, but I just didn't have time. It was and I wanted to keep this simple but recognizable. So I just used my middle finger on the 2nd fret 1st string, slid up to the 4th fret, and then back down to the 2nd fret. So we have. Now watch this. Look what I did there. After this, take your hand off the fretboard and make the E chord. And see how easy that is? When you make the E chord, all you're doing with your right hand then is playing, and I use my ring finger on string 1 and my thumb on string 6, and we're playing those 2 E notes. Now obviously you don't even need your hand on the fretboard for that, but the reason I make the chord is because the next note, you do need it on there, which is that one. Okay, so see how those 2 happen at the same time? Now watch this. Pointer finger on string 3. You just got the E chord going down here. And then you go. Now watch this. This chord is an F sharp 7th chord. Very easy to make because you've just got a bar here on the 2nd fret. You can do that. And then I've just got 2 fingers. I don't have all 3. Now if you know how to make an F sharp major bar chord, it's just an E chord shape, right? So these 3 fingers. All you have to do to make the F sharp majors, take your pinky off. That's it. And you get this sound. You get a little more of a bluesy sound. It's more of a transitional chord. That's how I think of it. So if we put it in context, so the notes that we're going to pluck, this is important, with the right hand, we're going to do strings 6, 4, and 3 at the same time. And notice these 2 are on 4 and 3. This is on 6. And then watch this. We're going to come right back to that B chord, which we've already played, and we're going to play strings 5, 4, and 3 again, using these 3 fingers. And you know which ones go with which strings. Okay, let me back up and play everything up to that point, just so we got it, and I'll do it slowly. Now watch this. What I did here, from the B chord, I played the 3rd string. I played it twice, and And then watch this. What I did for this is I took my ring finger and my middle finger and I straddled strings 1 and 3, and I started on the 2nd fret and I slid up to the 4th fret. And as soon as I reached the 4th fret, I hit my thumb on the open 6th string like this. Actually, I take that back. My thumb goes down as soon as I start the slide. So we have now where some of you may be saying, well, wait a minute, where is this? You know, like what chord is that? If the E chord is here, what is that? This is part of an E chord too. So, and I've covered this in other lessons, but if you're making an E chord here, you can also make an E chord shape using the D shape. Most of you know how to make a D shape. You just slide it up here. You're only playing strings 1, 2, and 3. But that's what we're doing. So when we slide in like this, you're just playing these 2 notes out of that chord, and they harmonize with each other, which sounds nice. And I've got lessons on this, on double stops and how you can do all the, and you know where those things come from. But anyway, so from here we have, watch this. So from here we're going to take that same shape, slide it back to the 2nd fret, and we're, oh, by the way, the right hand is using, I'm using strings, fingers, my ring finger and my pointer finger to do these 2. See my right hand? Okay, now after this, we're going to come down and play that. Now that's really the E chord. It's just the top 3 strings out of the E chord, but I'm fretting, I'm just needing to fret the 1st fret 3rd string. So, because that low 6th string rings out. So listen to it. Here it continues to ring. That's one of the reasons I wanted to do this on electric guitar, was that you have a little more sustain over notes like that. But now watch where we go from here. Right back to that B chord. This time though, we're going to play all 4 strings right in the middle. Strings 4, 3, I'm sorry, 5, 4, 3, and 2. So, okay, now watch this. What I did here is I went to an A chord. So from the B, went down and played. I just barred the first 4 strings on the 2nd fret and played strings 5, 4, 3, and 2 using those same fingers, minus the pinky. Then I put my pinky back up here on the 4th fret 2nd string. So let me back up. I don't want to get too ahead of myself. So we have. Now watch this. Very easy to do. Look at the left hand. It's just an E chord. So from the A, all you're doing is coming down and making an E chord. And now you're going to start by taking your pointer finger and your ring finger on strings 1 and 3 and your thumb on string 6. That's the first thing you're going to plug. Now watch this. Watch fingers 1 and 3. I'm sorry, my pointer finger, my ring finger. Watch what they do. Can you see what they're doing? They're straddling every other string. So it starts with strings 1 and 3, then it goes to 2 and 4, then it goes to 3 and 5, and then 4 and 6. So, and then the left hand just stays right on the E chord. Okay, let me back up from the beginning and let's play it up to that point. I'll do it slowly. Oh, here's one other thing to point out. Watch this. Notice I slid. So when I came up here, I just slid down. I didn't pluck that. This is a little nuance, but I wanted to point it out. Now, at that point, you would repeat the verse again. But it's everything that you already know. Now we get into the rockets regular. So at this point, watch this. So I'm going to come up and make that E chord that I just mentioned a minute ago. This is using that D shape, but we're playing it here so that our middle finger and our pointer finger are on the 4th fret, straddling strings 1 and 3. And then our ring finger goes down on string 5, fret 2. Thumb hits the low 6th string. So that completes the E chord. So what I'm doing there, I'm using my ring finger to play that string 1 here. Now watch this. So when I do this, I'm going to go from this E chord. This is an A chord with an E in the bass. So if you think of it, an A bar chord, just the top 3 notes out of that bar chord, that's what this is. So I'm going to bar the first 2 strings on the 5th fret with my pointer finger, and then I'm going to take my middle finger, put it down on the 6th fret 3rd string. And you don't have to do anything in the bass note because you're going to let that one ring from previously. So and then watch this. So then we're going to come up and play an E chord up here. So the magic to playing these melodies is really learning your chords in different positions. So a lot of you know an E chord here. Maybe some of you knew how to, you could make an E chord here. And now we're going to make one up here. And so to make this chord, pointer finger goes down on the 7th fret 1st string. Ring finger goes down on the 9th fret 2nd string. And our middle finger goes down on the 9th fret 3rd string. And we're going to play them all 3 of these, you know, with these 3 fingers. And then our thumb on the bass. So, and that's what I'm doing. Now watch let me point out where the bass notes come, or that low 6th string comes in. Right here. And right here. On the word glare, Rocket's red glare, that's where it would come in again. And then to get into Bombs Bursting in Air, that line, I gave a little bit of a bluesy thing. I always tend to find myself doing that, but I went. Now that chord, that's just a B7th chord, but the way that I got into it is I went, and I just did this little bend here. So that bend is on the 9th fret 2nd string, and it's not a full bend. A full bend would sound like this. It's just a half bend. A half bend only goes up 1 fret from where you start it, so it goes. Actually, so you do a bend and a release, and at the end of that release, you come down and play this chord. Now let me show you the chord. This chord, we've already made it. We've already made this chord shape. When I showed you how to play that F sharp 7th chord, this is that same chord shape. The only difference is we're barring it up here on the 9th fret. I'm sorry, we're barring it up here on the 7th fret. So that's how you're going to practice that. Now here's the notes that you're plucking with your right hand. You're doing strings 2, 3, and 4, and then your thumb is on string 6. Now, watch what happens with your pinky after this to complete the melody. See what it's doing? It's very simple. Your pinky just goes down right there on the 9th fret 2nd string, and then it slides up 1 more to the 10th fret, 2nd string. Okay, so you can see when I play the chord again. So there's the melody, just the melody, using my ring finger here to pluck out that 2nd string. You see my right hand? Okay, now watch this. We're going to come down to this chord. We've already made this chord. It's the C sharp minor chord. So I'm not going to show you how to fret it because we've already covered that. But here's the notes you're going to play. It's going to be 1, 2, and 3. These are the string numbers. And then our thumb on the 5th string. So from here, now watch this. That was the hardest part for me in the whole thing. Is getting from this chord to come down and play those 2 notes. I think it was just because I was always bumping something when I did it. So from here, from the C sharp minor, we're going to come down to the 2nd fret 1st string, play that, and then play the open 1st string. And then what comes after that is that B chord again. And we're going to play strings 5, 4, 3, and 2. You can see a lot of repetition in this. Okay, from here. Now watch this. So from here, from the B chord, we're going to play the A chord again. Just strings 5, 4, 3, and 2 with an A chord, just a bar in the first 4 strings here on the 2nd fret. Putting our pinky down, just like we did before, on the 4th fret, 2nd string. And then watch this. So from the A chord, we're going to go back to the E chord, and we're going to play strings 1 and 3 with our pointer finger and our ring finger, and then our thumb on the 6th string. And then we're going to re-emphasize the 3rd string with our pointer finger again. Okay, so let me back up from here. Here's the A, here's the E. It's re-emphasizing that 3rd string. Now watch this. We've already done this before. We're back to that F sharp 7th chord, playing strings 3, 4, and 6 with our right hand. Just those 3 fingers. And then we go back to the B chord, playing strings 3, 4, and 5. Okay, let's back up to that point. We're going to play from the beginning up to that point. I'm going to skip the repetition. We're going to go right into this part. Okay, now watch this. So we're going back to the E chord, playing strings 1 and 3 with our pointer and ring finger, and then our thumb on the 6th string. Watch this. We've already done this. And then I take these 2 fingers, my middle finger, my ring finger, and my left hand, and come up to the 4th fret playing strings 2 and 3. Okay, so we have I'm using my ring finger and middle finger with my right hand to pluck those two, and then I came down and just played the A chord instead of barring it. I guess you could bar it if you wanted. I fretted it like that, but that's what you're gonna play. Okay. And then watch this. This is an F sharp minor chord, and to play this, it's very simple. We're just going to bar the 2nd fret, and then we're going to take our ring finger and put it down on the 4th fret 5th string, and our pinky goes down to the 4th fret 4th string. You know, actually, you don't even need those notes. Now, I mean, I'm just used to making the chord, but really all you're doing, if you think about it, or if when you notice this, you're playing strings 1, 2, and 3, and then you're playing that low 6th string. You're actually not even using those 2 fretted notes, but I'm used to making the chord. But anyway, so that's what we're going to do. And then watch this. So after you make that, play that chord, you come up here with your pinky. I use my pinky for this, and place the 5th fret 1st string. Use my ring finger with my right hand to pluck that. Then come down to the 4th fret. Then take it off, take my pinky off so that I'm using the bar here on the 2nd fret. Now the pinky goes down to the 5th fret 2nd string. Now watch this. So from here, I keep the bar down. The bar stays the whole time. But then what I do is I play my thumb goes up to the 5th string at this point, and I'm going to play the 5th fret 2nd string here. I'm also going to use my middle finger and play the 3rd string, which is behind this bar here. So those are your notes. And then I just let my pinky slide down one. Now some of you may want to use your ring finger. I don't know what's more comfortable for you. And that's all I did. This just slid down 1 fret. Okay, so from, let's see. From there, we're going to go, oh yeah, sorry. We're going to play the open 2 string, or it's the B string. Hit that twice, which is nice because it's an open string, so it lets your hand come off the fretboard and get in position to play something else. Now we've already done this. This is just fretting the first, it's the E chord. You're just playing the top strings 1 and 3 out of the E chord with your thumb on the 6th string, playing the bass note. Now watch this. All I'm doing is walking up. We've already done all of these, but we're going to play strings 1 and 3 for all of this. So the right hand is easy. It's just 1 and 3. Just plucking like this. We're going to come here and play this on the 2nd fret. We're going to play strings 1 and 3. Then on the 4th fret, we're going to play strings 1 and 3. Then we're going to play that A chord. Remember the A chord shape? But we're only going to play strings 1 and 3. So it's the 5th fret 1st string, 6th fret 3rd string. And then we're going to come up and play that E chord shape, which we did. But we're only going to play, well, actually when I came to that E, I might have played strings 1, 2, and 3 to make it sound a little more full. So I think I did do that. And then that's just repeating that. 2nd fret, strings 1 and 3. 4th fret, strings 1 and 3. Now watch this. We're back to the A chord, which we've already done. Let's see. Right, so for here, we're going to come back to the 2nd fret, playing strings 1 and 3, just like we did. But now our bass note is going to switch to the B note, which is the 5th string on the 2nd fret. So the notes we're playing here are 1, 3, and 5 with our ring, pointer, and middle finger. Our ring, pointer, and thumb like this. So now you could just go to the E, but I just was feeling more dramatic, I guess, when I came up with this, and I went to the A there. So I just made an A chord by cramming these 3 fingers into the 2nd fret, strings 2, 3, and 4. Lifted my ring finger, played the open B string, or the open 2 string, then played the open 1 string. Since it's open, you can take your hand off the fretboard, put it in position to play the E chord. And that's how you'd resolve it. Okay, let me back up and play through everything. I do have a slow walkthrough version, so if you just want to see this without all the talking and all the explanation, check out the slow walkthrough over at Active Melody, EP108. Okay, so here we go. Here's one last time through. Move on. There's the Star-Spangled Banner. I hope you've enjoyed it.